Hi, everyone. Are you getting sick of seeing me yet? All right, so I am here to introduce the next topic, which is how do we win the battle and defeat ataxia, which is, like, I'm sure, a topic that everyone is really interested in. And I feel very privileged to be able to announce my partner in crime for this weekend, Mr. Joel Sutherland. And I want to tell you a little bit about Joel before I call him up to the stage. What you may not know about Joel is he spent 28 years in sports marketing. He dealt with the LA Dodgers and the Minnesota Twins. And in 2011, he was the executive director for Minnesota and Dakota chapters of the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. And then he joined NAF in 2016 as the director of development, and he's just starting his 10th year with the foundation, and 6 years with me doing these conferences. So please join me in welcoming the Vice President of Development, Mr. Joel Sutherland.
Oh my goodness, if that music just doesn't want to make you grab your golf club and just do, for some of those who remember that Johnny Carson show, doesn't that just bring you back to a special time? God, that's great stuff. That's great stuff. So the title of this next half hour is, so how do we win the battle and defeat ataxia? We're going to do it $1 at a time, everybody. We're going to do it $1 at a time. And as you've heard this afternoon on a number of occasions, you know what? With funding, we have a chance, and without it, it's tough. Funding for any rare disease is paramount. And our vision here at the National Ataxia Foundation to accelerate the development of treatment and a cure, that vision can be clear with funding. Without it, it becomes very blurred, right? But this afternoon, we're going to do more than just talk about some of the things that are happening. We're going to show you, we've got some real nice presentations, a nice video set, and to show you what some of the folks have been doing across the country here in the last year. And to help me do that, let me welcome my first guest, this Chief Executive Officer of the National Ataxia Foundation, Andrew Rosen. Andrew, come on out. There we go. Oh yeah, there we go. Very good. Got to work on that swing a little bit.
Joel,
well, welcome.
How are you?
Welcome.
Good to see you.
It's good to be seen. And
Thank you.
Nice to
Thank
see
you,
Andrew. Gosh.
Should we have a seat?
Let's get comfortable. Let's get comfortable. You know, we're here today to talk about things folks want to do, can do across the country, give them some ideas and stuff. But there's a lot of other things to keep in mind as we're taking a look at these.
Yeah. So I was just jotting down a few notes about, you know, this session is going to be about development, but there's some things that I think are important to kind of think about here. Listen, the importance of funding. We are a nonprofit driven by individual donations, right? That's not a surprise, I think, to anyone in this room. But the importance of funding for us in a nonprofit that spends a lot of money on research, right? Joel coined a great term that he uses all the time that I love: money buys research and research buys answers. And you know, we talk as a staff a lot about we'd love to put ourselves out of business, right? That's right. We want a cure for this thing. We know that that's off a little ways yet, right? But in the meantime, the more funding we get, the more we can spend on critical research and support programs and really focus on our mission. So that's one of the things I wanted to make sure we talk a little bit about.
And you know, some of you may have heard me talk about this in the past, but you know, when we talk about we is not the National Ataxia Foundation. We is our ataxia community. When we talk about the things that we need, it does mean for our principal researchers, for our clinicians, for those with ataxia, for caregivers and their families. So when we talk about the things that we need to pull together, we is us, all right? And I think that's a really important thing for us to delineate.
Yep. Another thing that I think we can't totally ignore, listen, there's a lot of, maybe for lack of a better term, unknown happening in Washington, D.C. these days that is going to impact our scientific research community. it's so important that we as a community come together and try to do anything we can to support that community, right? So NAF is certainly going to look at ways that how can we potentially increase our funding for research. As you know, we give over $2 million a year to research now. We'd love to find a way to increase that since, again, there's a lot of uncertainty happening from traditional sources of funding. We want to try to step up in any way we can. And so, our community's involvement in that is maybe more critical now than it ever has been.
Exactly. Going back to something that Celeste had talked about earlier today, perhaps on the community survey and things about development, we know that there are barriers in our community. We know that. We know there are barriers in terms of logistical opportunities, financial capabilities. We totally understand that. And we also know that there are some people that simply want to know, how can we get involved? And one of the things that we want to do today is show you how some of the things you can get involved with, in some instances on let's call it an extra large scale, and in some ways even on a small scale as well.
Yeah, it's really important. Listen, we are not here, we're not up on stage to ask y'all for money.
No.
Right? Some can give, some can't. We totally understand that. There are lots of ways you can be involved in development that don't involve writing your own check, and you're going to hear some about that today. So we hope one of these might ring a bell with you, and you might say, that's how I'm going to get involved.
There you go.
In 2025.
So let's start with the extra large. The extra large size of an event. And by all means, this isn't for everybody, for sure. But you know what? Telling you this story might resonate with you to bring back to somebody else. Or you may know somebody who might just want to jump into something like this. Back in 2020, we'd been working on an event. It was called the Joint Mission Baton. And we had roughly 32 people from across the country that were raising funds to take on a 26-mile hike through the White Sands Missile Base in Las Cruces, New Mexico. But just like our conference in 2020 got canceled, so did the JMB. But there was so much energy around that this past winter we said, you know what, let's take a look at bringing something like this back. And what we've landed on is what we're calling it's the Rim to Rim. It's going to be a hike on October 18th. It's going to start at the north end of the Grand Canyon, and it's going to be a 24.5-mile hike through the canyon, and we'll finish at the south rim that night.
Did you say 24 miles?
Yeah, but some of it's downhill, so it's not. But then some of it's uphill too, I guess. So
Great.
But it should be a really memorable event. It's we're going to fly into Scottsdale, into Phoenix on the 16th. We're going to bus up to the North Rim on the 17th, do our hike, and on the 19th, we'll come back to Scottsdale. This particular event, because we can only have 27 people take part in this, we're asking for a pledge of $10,000 that people can raise throughout the year to take part in this. I do want people to know, I don't want anybody to fret. This is not a Joel Sutherland production. We have professional guides on this tour. So I like to tell my wife, it may not be as much fun, but it'll be safe. It's going to be a safe guided hike through the canyon. So that's just something that we've got going. It's on a big scale, by all means, we know that. And if it's not for you, maybe there's somebody that might be interested in that. Frankly, we have 15 slots full right now, and we've got room for 12 more. But that's just one of the things we have.
And to put our money where our mouth is,
here's
Joel and I have both signed up for 2 of those slots. So we're going to be
doing some fundraising.
We're working with some trainers at the moment. We might want to be carrying a little less baggage, if you know what I mean, with us on that hike. But we're excited about it.
It'll be good. It'll be good. On a smaller scale.
All right, so that was the extra large, right?
That's the extra large right there.
Let's go to the large. Many of you know that our signature fundraising community events for years now have been our walk and rolls. I was just at the Tampa Bay Walk and Roll there just a few weeks ago. It was a great event. It's a great way to get the community together. There's some Tampa Bay folks right there.
Nice.
Our friends there. That was great. It's a community event and brings together people from all around a certain area, raise some money for ataxia, do something active, all good things. We have a video that we're going to roll now. I think Jon Wegman from Joel's team is going to talk a little bit about the walk and roll.
That's right. What do we have to tell them?
Right. And to start the video, I'm supposed to say, hit it, Nick.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jon Wegman, and I am a development manager here at the National Ataxia Foundation. Today, I have the pleasure of talking with Lisa Cole. Lisa has been a longtime support group leader and walk and roll organizer in Florida. She has put on her Treasure Coast South Florida walk and roll for 8 years, and she is a wealth of knowledge. Thank you for joining me today, Lisa. My first question for you is, why did you start your walk?
It was my heart get into it. Just like I just wanted to do fundraisers, and I have a great community that likes to help me and participate, so I can continue to do the walks. After so long, I've learned what to do. So I enjoy doing that and help raise the money, but for generations to come, and that bring the community together.
That's awesome, Lisa. My next question is, how do you get your community involved in your walk?
So everywhere I go, even Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts, I give them a flyer, and a lot of local businesses, and every place we go to eat, we always ask for the manager, and I'm just not afraid. I just ask for them. If not too many of them say no, but if they say no, oh, well, it's okay. But so many people love to help their community. So it just makes you feel good whenever, a lot of people join in and want to help and do things.
That's really great advice, Lisa. Thank you for sharing that. My last question here is, what advice would you give for anybody that is thinking about starting a walk?
When you start a walk, I was nervous for the very first one, and then realized that, when you get a lot of people, non-Ataxian friends, or even if you go to church, there's so many nice people that want to help. And delegate. Do your best to delegate, but have like extra volunteers at each spot, because sometimes they cancel on you. You just go with the flow, and you got another person. Or if you have another person who wants to help, they can help that area too. And it's just nice to have all the extra help as you can get. And like I said, just delegate and go with the flow. And I try to do the raffles myself. You don't want to have too much on yourself. And then you can have fun.
Thank you for sharing your expertise with us, Lisa. Thank you for your time today. I really like that point about having fun. These events that we put on, we really want you to have a good time, spread awareness, and of course, raise the vital funds necessary for the fight against ataxia. If you have any thoughts or would like to start a walk in your area, please reach out to us. NAF is here to help, and we appreciate everything that everybody does all across the country. Back to you, Phyllis.
All right. Nice job, John and Lisa. I know we've got a number of walk and roll coordinators here in the ballroom here today. I'd like to thank all of you for what you do. These are fun events. And these events, by all means, they are fundraising events, but they do so much more, too.
They do.
They bring the community together. For some folks, it's just great having something on that schedule to look forward to. And you know what? These events do raise awareness, okay? It might be in a local region or local regional area, but it's all good stuff. So they are fundraising events, but they do so much more as well.
A couple quick thoughts, Joel, that I thought Lisa nailed. So first off, delegate, right? It's not all on you. Don't try to take one of these on by yourself. Find a group of friends, find a group of Ataxians that want to help, and divvy it up. The other thing she talked about, or one of the bullet points talked about, some of you may not be comfortable in asking friends to donate, but you'd be more than happy to go to your Starbucks that you pour $10, $20 a day into and ask them for a gift card that you can auction off at the event. There's lots of ways to participate in these things. So, and then lastly, NAF is here to help, right? John obviously is a great resource, but we try to get out to these events as much as we can as well. So we can offer to be a guest speaker and share a little bit about ataxia. We can be there the day before to help set up, right? So we're there in any way we can to help you.
Excellent. That's great. Thanks again, Lisa and John. All right, now we're going to go down to what we'll call it the medium size, okay? And this we're going to refer to as, we talk about passion fundraising in the office. And what is passion fundraising? It's like, well, outside of the rock and roll, it's when you think about what you'd like to do. I know there's folks in here, I guarantee you, that somebody wants to do something, they don't know what they'd like to do. And what I like to tell folks is, don't think with your head, think with your heart. What do you like to do? What do you love to do? Because if you're able to find it doing it by thinking with your heart, you will be successful, and it'll be a good time. So when you're thinking about passion fundraising, use your heart. And I got to tell you this, this came in earlier today. I'm going to take you up to Ballston Lake, New York. I don't know if anybody knows where that is, but up there you go, there is a school, an elementary school, Charlton Heights Elementary, okay?
The Chuck and Duck.
They have what they call the Chuck and Duck. And this has been going on now for 15 years. 16 years ago, they had a student there that was diagnosed with ataxia. And for the last 15 years, they've been doing a dodgeball event at their school. This year, they raised $7,800, and it's over $60,000 in 15 years. And we get a call from them every year. But that's the kind of stuff, you know, it doesn't have to be big. Something like this, what came from the heart, right?
I love that, Joel. I record a video every year
Right,
that they show, and I mean, I don't know about you all, but I have kind of not so fond memories of getting drilled by dodgeballs, but I think it's a great event, and I love that they keep doing it.
Absolutely. So going on the line of passion fundraising, we're going to share a little story here by video in a little bit, but this is a perfect example, I think, of a passion fundraising event that started with somebody's heart, what they like to do, and they did it. So with that, let me say, hit it, Nick.
Hello, everyone. Today I've got Brian Taubrey, member of our board of directors, joining us from his home in Eden Prairie, Minnesota, to tell us why he did what he did. So Brian, let me turn it over to you. Why did you do it, and what did you do? How's that?
Perfect. No, thanks for the time, Joel, and always great to see you. So I'll get into the why here, and then we'll dive into the what. And so the why. So I've been fortunate to be part of the board for a little over a year now. I've been so impressed and amazed by both the other members as well as the NAF staff for how hard everyone's working and continuing to live and abide by our vision, right? A world without ataxia. Now the what, and so starting to brainstorm and how can I get involved? How can I make an impact? Sure. And so, you know, growing up in Minnesota, I've been fortunate to play hockey and been skating since I've been 3 years old. And how can we leverage that and build that in? And so with the help of John and Joel and other NAF staff, we drew up this passion fundraiser, Skate for a Cure, where we were able to skate, and I'll let you speak to the 68 and the reason why, but 68 miles, which is a little over 250 laps. I'm outside. We had a beautiful day with some snow falling. It was, you know, it was the perfect drop of what you could ask for from Mother Nature in terms of allowing us to see this event through, as well as raising some funds along the way.
It was really cool. Yeah, with 272 quarter-mile laps, got us to 68 miles, and that 68, you know, coincides with 68 years of NAF really being in operation. But hey, Brian, I got to ask you, you had a bunch of folks join you. How did you get them to join the effort?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think, well, I'd like to, you know, pride and joy Minnesota. I think we have a great community here in general. And then as part of my extracurriculars, I skated in an adult hockey league or a beer league, and we were in the locker room after one of our games. And I was starting to talk about this event, and I was just so amazed and impressed by how many people wanted to step up and help contribute. And we have a few guys that, you know, had played college hockey, so we had a lot of talent and some good skaters around that were able to help us accomplish this goal.
Oh, that's pretty cool. You know, I think you're being a little humble on this. I think people might be interested to know how long it took. We had about 10 skaters out there and a combined effort, skated about 50 laps or so, and you guys finished in just a little over an hour, which in those kind of weather conditions was really impressive. Really impressive. But if I could, what kind of advice would you tell some of our attendees here in Las Vegas on give them some advice on what they could do and what might help them in their efforts?
For sure. Yeah, the two takeaways I would probably come away with here is one, give. You know, it's so important for all the strong initiatives that the board and the NAF staff have drawn up to get these in place. You know, and the foundation, right, is making sure they have the funding and resources available to continue to drive drive our cause, a world without ataxia. And the second piece is awareness, right? It continuing to build our community, and the more people that know about ataxia, the more support we have, and the more awareness we have, will help us snowball and build the momentum, and making sure that we're continuing to move this forward and as quickly as we can, while supporting people living with ataxia.
That's awesome, Brian. But I've got to ask you, could you step back and show everybody this wonderful jersey you've got on? How about this? That was one of the jerseys that the guys wore that day. Looks really great. Brian, hey, thanks so much for joining us. Thanks for all the insight. Thanks for what you're doing with our board, and for putting your passion fundraising efforts into work. So thanks so much for being with us, Brian. Take care. That's great.
So Joel, you know, the green blur that you saw
Blurred, yeah, like slowly, or going really fast.
was me. That the hockey jersey is rocking. That's partly why I did it. I wanted the hockey jersey.
That's what it was.
And I can tell you, I was feeling. Brian said he played college hockey. Several of his friends are really strong skaters. It's been a while since I've really been on the ice, and I was feeling pretty good as we left. Mm-hmm. And it's a big Olympic-size oval that you skate around. And then as I came around the corner and the wind hit, I wasn't feeling quite as strong. Anyway, it was a fabulous event. And as you said, and Brian said, Brian's passion is skating.
Yeah.
And he turned that into a fundraiser, right? And it could be guitar playing, it could be wine drinking, it can be, you name it. It doesn't matter what the passion is. There's a way to. If it's a passion of yours, your friends are going to care, and this was a great example of it.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know, your community may have something unique as well. The Oval in St. Paul, there's only 5 of those in the country, so to be able to take advantage of that Oval was really pretty cool. That event raised $4,000. Had about 2 months, but everybody had a great time. And what came out of that as well is there's a lot of excitement to do it again.
Oh, they're already plotting a longer course, and
Exactly.
I might be a bystander next year. I might just have to watch instead. But
hey, you're talking to a guy who grew up in northern Minnesota. Not many of us grew up in northern Minnesota that never learned how to skate, but you're looking at one. You're looking at one. So.
All right, we are going to end things off with kind of our small or maybe bite-sized idea here. Listen, you all know there's the way we communicate these days is often online, and online fundraising has become a real force for nonprofits in the U.S. and really around the world. Joel and his team have kind of created a template, if you will. We're calling it an online kind of letter writing campaign. We'll help you craft the message.
Exactly.
You could send it out via email. You could put it on your Facebook. Lots of different ways to get the message out. And Joel, I think we're talking about a goal of what, maybe $250, something like that?
Yeah, it's just to get things going. It's one of those things where we're gonna ask anybody who wants to take part in this, give us 3 sentences about your ataxia journey, and that might be tough. I know the journeys can be long, but if you gave us 3 sentences about your journey, send us a photo. We'll create that page for you. We'll send it back, and then you send it to whoever you'd like to send out. And what we didn't know, it was somewhat beta tested earlier this year with one of our support group leaders out of Los Angeles. And what do you think? Should we introduce this piece right now?
Absolutely.
You know the words.
I didn't even know we had another video.
Oh, we've got
but guess what?
What?
I'm going to say, hit it, Nick.
Hi, guys. My name is Rich McCutchen. I'm one of the development managers for the National Ataxia Foundation, and I'm joined today by Mr. Pete Selleck. Pete is based in Los Angeles, California, has been a member of the support group for 3 years and is currently leading that group. Pete jumped into the fundraising space with NAF this last year by starting an online letter writing campaign. He utilized social media and email and raised some funds to help support the mission of NAF. And we're so thankful for that. So, Pete, thanks so much for taking some time with us to talk about your
You're
experience.
welcome. Sure.
All right, Pete. So tell me first off, what made you want to start this campaign to fundraise with NAF?
I feel like our support group just didn't have the resources quite yet to do a more traditional like walk and roll. But I knew I wanted to do something. I get so much benefit out of the webinars, whether they're about research or in-chair yoga. It really makes me feel connected with the whole community, takes me outside of myself and to other great ataxians out there.
Tell me this, how did you get your community involved?
Right away, I thought of Facebook just because there's a lot of friends from different activities I've been in, from school, through work, through leisure. So I wanted to get in there and touch as many people and raise awareness for ataxia and hopefully a few dollars.
Well, what advice would you give for those thinking about starting a fundraising campaign?
Well, first of all, it can be scary. It can be intimidating. You're going, what if I start this and I get $75? That's it. And I had a goal of 300. First of all, you don't know how people are going to respond until you ask. So asking is the first part, and have a little faith. They'll come through. The second thing is set two goals. One is financial, and the other one is, well, what's he doing? What could I do? At one time, I was a marathon runner. Now I can do about half a mile. And if I use walking sticks, 3/4. So to do 1 mile is a big deal.
Yeah.
So I just simply said that. First, I explained what ataxia is, explained what I was doing, and asked for their support and what that support would go to. So I tried to keep it, down to like 3 paragraphs so people will actually read it. I posted it and I sent it out, and I waited nervously. I set a goal of $300. Am I going to make it? In one day, I was a little past the goal. So I reset it. Let's see if I can do 500. A day later, that was surpassed. So let's do 750. So the main thing is you can change your goal. And every time a person donated, I mentioned it on Facebook, and I also sent them a personalized thank you. So then they got some recognition too from other people. The thing that surprised me, well, 2 things. One, how much support I got is really quite humbling. The second thing was I was surprised at some of the people that donated and how generous they were. And some people that didn't donate that I thought maybe were a little closer. But maybe those circumstances just wasn't right for them. Right. Next year when I do it again, could be a different story. And I wanted to show people in my group too that, yeah, you can do something. And, I just made it over 1,000, but, it was just so amazing to me. I went ahead and I did the mile. I recounted it, told it to everyone, and how tough that last quarter mile was. I felt their support for that last quarter because if they hadn't been there, I think I might have called my wife for a pickup. Finishing that mile was as glorious and a feeling of accomplishment as my first marathon.
That's great.
And that surprised me too. But it was overall a very positive experience.
Very cool. Well, thank you, Pete, for all you do for NAF and the ataxia community in Los Angeles. Appreciate you taking some time to talk with us and give your experience. It's awesome.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, back to you, Joel.
All right. Hey, very good. Peter, are you here today? Pete, are you in the ballroom? Maybe he's not. But that was just a great video, wasn't it? That was outstanding. Yeah,
There he is. He's back there.
Hey, there we go.
There he is.
Nice. Thank you for that. Oh, that's great. That's great. I also want to thank my colleague Rich McCutchen, who's region manager out of Tulsa, for putting that video together.
Rich is here if you've got questions.
Yeah, and to that point, I think we've had some QR codes that have been distributed to all the tables here this afternoon. And if you'd like to, you can take a picture of that, bring it home. It'll show you, give you a little more information on what we went through today, and the contact information, how you can get a hold of John or Rich, or even myself, joel@ataxia.org, to learn how to go through this process with you and see what you'd like to do and see how we can pull things together.
There was one thing, Joel, that Pete said that really stuck with me. You don't know until you ask. Right? And even there are going to be some people out there that aren't going to be able to give. That's okay. You're building awareness of ataxia. They know what's important to you. But again, I think you might be surprised at how it plays out.
Right.
Pete is a great example.
Yeah, that was perfect. So, had a couple other thoughts regarding our passion fundraising, things that we've done across the country that we've seen. We have a lady doing a volleyball event up in Rhode Island this year. We've done a number of comedy shows across the country that have gone really well. Some of you have seen a little different. It's another online event. It was our Artisans online auction, right? Art auction. It was outstanding. So there's a lot of things that, maybe sometimes it's tough because there's no barriers, but once again, if it's coming from the heart, it's going to work. It's going to work. So, all right. Well, with that, we are going to move on to a very special time of the day or the conference, which is going to give us an opportunity to recognize some of these folks who've gone through some of these events and have also done some other really special things to support the mission of the National Ataxia Foundation. So with that, I am going to bow out, and I get the opportunity to introduce my colleague back up once again. Dana Morrow, you're up. Thank you.
Push this off to the side.
Yeah.
Joel.